Am I live, chat? Please tell me. It's the third time today I'm trying to go live. Okay, I think, yeah. Hello. Okay, I'm glad it's working. So, important thing. We have some delay, but that's we need to live with it. I just wanted to test you that I have programmed a script to read out your messages out loud. So, it's not going to read all of the messages, right? Because that would be total chaos. To get your message read, it's free. You don't have to like give me money or anything. You just have to add TTS, exclamation mark TTS, to your message. So for example, I'll say spaghetti.
Rasreem said spaghetti.
So basically that's the effect of 2 hours of Python scripting. Okay, bro, I'm making my own Android OS later. I want to make the phone that you made. That's very nice. If you want to help us integrate Android, you can. I think there was someone who wanted to do it, but I don't know how is it going. He's not responding. Here. Last activity was last week, so I don't know what's going on. Yo! Hello. The power scientist. Nice. Nice nickname. Okay, first thing I want to do the stream. I also want this to be a productive stream, so let's talk more, you know, doing stuff. So, as I said before, if you want your message to get read aloud, you need to append the exclamation mark TTS command to it, and it will read it aloud. So I don't have to read it anymore. You can test it, it's free for everyone for now. However, there is one detail. If you like, it won't read the messages if there's already been an identical message. So if 20 people want to say hello and read it out loud, it's not going to work. So I'll demonstrate once again. I already said spaghetti, okay? So it's not going to read it. But if I say, okay.
The power scientist said, hello man.
You heard that, right?
Rasreem said, who touched my spaghetti?
Spaghetti. Okay, so that's how it works. It's not paywalled or anything. Maybe one day I will paywall it if many people start using it, but we'll see. Okay, so the first thing today is that the Tcraft pointed out that I confused the diameter with the radius, which is extremely embarrassing, and on behalf of myself, I want to say sorry for this kind of mistakes. Okay, right, so that's the first thing I want to do.
That power scientist said, do you remember the guy that told you he's gonna build an own Raspberry Pi tablet?
No, I don't remember him. Was that a like comment or something? Well, I don't know. How to create local Android OS server without Google and similar to Huawei and can update automatically? I don't know. Is that a question to me? I'm more of an electronics person. I never did Android development. However, I think I'm going to have to at some point.
That power scientist said, look at Discord messages as crocodile.
Oh, this guy. Okay. Actually, our smartphone is really easy to repurpose as a tablet or whatever else, because it runs, for example, as a laptop. Would be easy. Would be easy. When we do the smartphone, I propose we do a laptop or something. I think it's going to be much easier. Okay, let's keep the productivity. So I also, last stream I noticed I was wasting 1 second typing git status. This time I'm more prepared and I have GS ready. 10x engineering you're witnessing right now. I also have some others. So for example, these are called aliases. I hope you know that. I have GCM, which stands for Git Checkout Main. Much faster than anything else. Okay, so I also added the new GSM GPS module. This is the old one. I left it just for maybe someone will need it at some point. I don't know. I just remember all the pain it was to add it, so now I don't want to delete it. Of course, at some point I'm going to. EG25, the new GPS GSM. And if someone is smart enough to tell me one thing, there are two variants on DigiKey, right? There's the 256 one and the 128. I presume that's related to memory. So I guess it has better caching, or it can run the firmware better or something. If someone knows the difference, let me know. The thing that is confusing me is that the price is 40 cents apart, so it's almost the same. I have no idea, because you know the data sheet is not an actual data sheet, it's just a brochure. It's 3 pages. The actual data sheets require you to, you know, dig into it, because it's not like freely available. However, I remember I got these data sheets after logging into Quectel, giving him my information and so on. So this should be also available. So my problem is that I apparently confused so it should be half the size. 135. That makes sense because they are now the same size. Yeah. M2.5 screws we're going to use. These are just mounting holes, you know, to connect to the chassis. It's even better that they're smaller now because they take space that the circuit will need. So we have more space for the circuit. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I modified the layout a little bit. So now the Compute Module 5 is facing outwards, not inwards. So it's better for thermals because the CPU can touch the aluminum. I'll try to show you a 3D model in a second. However, it's quite heavy, so it's going to load for a second. Also, the KiCad ray tracer is so nice. You can render product images with this, in my opinion. The spirit of making the project phone. What? What is your nickname? Like, the issue I ran into while like swapping the sides of the CM5 is now the camera cannot be attached to the PCB. Here, where you see the silk screen circle, there were drill holes, but now it's impossible to drill here because of the EG25 here. So I cannot just drill into it, I mean into its copper stuff. Also, we made a 10x engineering move, and now the CM5 is using the same screw as the rest of the PCB, and everything is the same size. So for now, at least, there's only one screw size, M2.5. Standard metric screw. None of that, you know, pentalobe bullshit that Apple came up with the Apple IV. So yeah. This is fixed. I consider it fixed now. Last final check. It was 2,7 and now it's 135. So that's good. That's half of it, right? Yes. 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 I love having to deal with these stupid mistakes like that. Okay, so the change is sent. Okay. I have an entire list of things to do. Hello. Can a 50 megapixel camera be installed on that phone? Yes. Specifically, this is 64 megapixels. So it's not 50, it's 64. If you want that many, and it has autofocus, which isn't very standard for these kinds of cameras. What CPU will you be using as the acting SoC of the phone? SoC standing for System on Chip. Actually, we're using a SOM, which is System on Module. Maybe one day we're going to upgrade, you know, but I mean, for sure we're going to upgrade, but for now we're using the Compute Module 5. This thing here. Is that answering your question? I don't know what's an acting SoC. What's the acting part? Yeah. So back to my amazing list. I explained to you how TTS works already. Yeah. I was thinking about making a wiki entry of fake websites because there's a couple of people who like either it's a GitHub repository or it's a website that's basically not our project but using our logo and the electronics logo. So I thought it would be useful to have a list of them, but I'm not sure yet. Also, I upgraded my licensing, our licensing of the project. As you saw on Discord, it's now much more robust. So I'm thinking either I can work on the power schematic, or I can work on the add-ons, and there has been some activity in the add-ons issue. So this is the old idea of having these simple like inputs, I mean sockets, and this is the new idea of having a magnetic connector attached directly to the phone. This is an I2C expander, very nice. And we're basically planning on having more of these external modules. The problem we're dealing with is that this is kind of expensive, the magnetic connector. So I was wondering if it would make sense to add another supplier, because now we're only using DigiKey, so everything can come in one package and have free shipping to get a better deal basically. But I was wondering if it would be better to use LCSC, because they're affiliated with GLC PCB, for example. And also I got it came to me that it may be more efficient to have two suppliers, because you can order from the one that has cheaper parts. Most of these parts are like jelly bean parts, meaning they are popular. So they probably both have them, and depending on who has the better price, you order from them. But in our case, again, okay, I'm on the wrong internet again. Can you hear me? Is everything fine? This is super suspicious. I don't want to restart the live stream now. It's so annoying. Can you hear me? Trishant Archaya, hello. I want to find a 6000 milliamp hours battery for this phone so that it will last longer if I get it. We have the idea of having an external battery, hot swappable, you know. Bro, you could check out Raspberry Pi AI kit, and may be better. Can you like send a link on Discord or something? Because I've never heard of AI kit. Not sure what it is, but at some point we're not going to use Raspberry Pi because it's not the most efficient option, you know. Please tell me, is the music too loud or not too loud? And if you can hear me, if it's stuttering or lagging, because I'm on the wrong internet apparently. This is so expensive, look. $14 for one connector, and you need like two to work. I think it's this one that we're using. Nice. This is $90 for a magnetic connector. Okay, I'm going to check out the Discord. Because someone... They're all extremely expensive. This is just fucking... Yeah, we're looking at the Pogo stuff. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm sure I'll be saving the... how do you call it? The fucking gravity thingy that lets you have a compass. I don't know, but for sure these things I'm going to do on the V2 in the second iteration. Do you remember the part name of the Pogo connector that he is using here? This is the old one. It's a 6-pin connector. Or is it a 4-pin, but these two are just magnets? I'm trying to find it. Okay, thanks. So this probably. The Spirit phone, we packing features. Okay, we got it. Thank you very much for your help. So this is $6.50, and there's only 70 in stock, so that's kind of suspicious. I'm not used to LCSC. I use DigiKey almost all the time, so please excuse my, you know. Why don't you use Mini PC Latte Panda to make it bigger? I mean, to make the phone bigger? I don't want it to be bigger. Also, it's air-cooled. Like, it's out of the question. It cannot be air-cooled. Imagine your phone fucking vibrating in your pocket and making noises. Are there like filters here? I'm sorry, I need to learn this. In stock, compliant with Road HS. So it's probably the same one as this, right? There's more in stock and it's $1, €1, I mean. I need to change this to dollars. It's 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters is actually a lot of centimeters. Is that too much or is it not too much? I think it's fine, like honestly. My picture is frozen, fuck. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Okay, welcome back. That's more of a cyberdeck SPC. Yeah, it would be good for a laptop or like a handheld gaming thingy. Now I need to fix the green screen. Oh, it broke again. Shit. Hello? Yeah, the joys of Linux. You know, my streaming setup is so crooked. Like everything is held by duct tape. Okay, now we're back. I cannot hit the table too hard because maybe the connectors are not working or something. Anyways, back on topic. Fucking this is a good choice, I think. Looking good. Okay. Weak joint in the camera. Maybe it's the connector or something. What is deals? Now, where do they have EDA files? Like, where do they? Oh, here. Okay. This is funny, by the way. This is for the people who absolutely need that 10-hour battery lifetime, you know? Someone suggested, I remember, to have a backup small battery for this, for when you are doing the swap, to not have to reboot the phone or something. Okay, let's not get sidetracked. I'd like to see how you're supposed to mount this. It's like a 90-degree angle, like THT thing, right? It's all in Chinese. Nice. Is 1 amp enough? I think it is enough. It's a good application for the pogo pins. You mean the battery swapper? So basically I proposed to use LCSC as a secondary supplier. The other alternative to another supplier would be just running the externals through the USB-C. Okay. No, I think everyone loves the magnetic thing, and if it costs $1, it's fine. I was just looking on LCSC, and even there it would be around $3 to $4. Actually, not true. To get the male and female. Okay. So we need 2. This is the male one. These are all USB-C. And this is not magnetic. Should the phone have the male or the female ones? Does it make any difference? Probably want to put the F connector on the phone, as it'll see more wear, and you'll want to more durable one attached. So the more durable is the female? I think so, because also, what happens if we need to think about what happens if someone shorts out these connectors by accident? Like if I put my phone or the add-on, whatever, on a steel table, for example, then all of these pins would get shorted. So we need to, like, you know, have TVS protection there, you know. Okay, so basically on the smartphone end, let's have the female one, right? It's a good choice, but also I want to say let's not forget to add 100%. It'll need an RCD style thing or something. What's RCD? What is? Is it like a circuit breaker? Okay, so this is the male one. This isn't my strong suit. It's an anti-short circuit breaker for houses machinery. Okay, I get it. In electronics, I think it's nice to use multi-fuses, which are basically fuses, but they take a couple seconds to trip and they reset themselves, so you don't have to replace them. They protect less because they need a couple of seconds to, you know, to actually trip, but you don't have to replace them, and so on. Also, adding a regular fuse is not a bad idea, I think. But the entire chassis is grounded, right? The only place where power is being inputted is in the pogo pins and in the USB-C connector. The USB-C is fully protected. If you take a look here, this thing is just protection for the data lines. The power lines are fine, I think, because they're going into the power IC, which itself either is protected or it can just handle this type of disturbance, I think. And I suppose the 4 pins, we're going to assign them power, ground, I2C clock and I2C data, right? Okay, so if we choose this one, the sum would cost $2.50, which is amazing. Why can't I just, okay. No, I'd like to know, how do you mount this thing? I don't understand, like, maybe, I don't know. Add the pogo pins to the power IC, or do we want it independent? I think we want a separate power rail for the externals. We definitely need a 12 volt and ground, but beyond that I'm not sure. Why do we need 12 volts? I thought the entire thing will have 3 rails, 3.3, 5 volts, and 22 volts for the screen backlight. It's Chinese to me. Yeah, it is Chinese to me as well. It looks to have 4 open pads on the back. Like, I don't know how they... Probably someone on Discord will like know that. Or maybe when we see the 3D model. Okay. So this is only for easy EDA, I think. They don't even have a 3D model? Come on. Can you drop the drawing on Discord and I'll point it out? Sure. If 3.3 or 5 is what's there, then go for it. I mean, we have regulators and you can choose how much they output, if I remember correctly. So this is the female. What I'm currently working on. I'm trying to understand how should this be mounted. Basically, it's all in Chinese, right? I don't have a 3D model, so you know. Maybe I can delegate this task to someone else. Or maybe we have someone in the community who speaks Chinese. I'm guessing these are absolute maximum values, like these. 12 volts and 3 amps, that would make 36 watts. Okay, I don't think I can do anything with this. Maybe I can deduce it from the materials. Google Translate, maybe. I don't know. The thing is, how do you put it? Is it not for PCBs, maybe? Okay, I think I'll leave that for now. Bro, I want to ask if the screen is lacking. Is it similar to Android or iPhone, IPS LCD or AMOLED screen? No, it's a little bit. It's lacking basically. I just sent you. It's in live streams channel. Okay, it's not an AMOLED because it's really difficult to find a good option for that. Okay, so basically, if you have the, if I'm understanding this correctly. You have the PCB, right? Let's assume this is the PCB. And I don't have things. Okay, and this is the connector, right? You just place it flat on the PCB, either on the top or bottom. I think that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's because that's the external side here, because there's like grooves. This is the internal side, I think. Do we want to try to make a 3D model on live stream? Because I don't know if it's worth the time or not. Maybe I'll wait for confirmation, because maybe these aren't good for some reason for these guys. So yeah, external is pointing down. Yeah, it cannot be pointing up because there's a screen, right? Or you solder little cables to it and glue it in a designed hole. Yeah, you can do that, but having separate wires inside your phone is not a good idea, first of all, for a couple of reasons. And second of all, I want to make it so that a pick and place machine can do it automatically. Like hand soldering, all of that would be terrible. Because that's where the magnets are. On the drawing. Okay. Mm. Very interesting. There's a YouTuber who made a modular macro pad where he uses what? Okay, where he uses those magnetic connectors. Salim Barlinguiz. Can you send this on Discord so I don't forget? Hey, do you think your motherboard design can be modified and used to revive Moto Razr V3? I thought you were going to ask a question about my mother. Hey, do you think your mother is... I don't know what's the Moto Razr. Give me a second. Okay. Our motherboard is much larger than this. So not really, you cannot put it in this. I think this is larger than the CM5, so it'd be kind of difficult to do this. Okay, so I'll close these off for now. Oh, it was that expensive because it was Adafruit. So this is almost completed, okay. Now, maybe I can take the time to import the 3D models now. It's good to be here, but I have to go. Glad to see you're going well and working on it. See you. Well, you can. It would be sticking out. Sure. I'm wondering, because now I have a fork in my road. Either I start working on the power schematic here, because we found out that we need to add some ICs basically. We currently have only this here, so what is this? Let's look at some issues. Maybe there's a more important thing to do. Also, just as a reminder, you can use the TTS command with your message. Like, I like the electronics. And then it will read it aloud.
Resreem said, I like the electronics.
Beautiful, right? We have 2 pages, okay. Chassis. It is possible if we add a cutout in front of all the 4 buttons for the mechanical buttons to be pressed into. The PCB is in the way of the buttons so that they cannot be pressed. Oh. I guess normal phones have these like caps on buttons so you can actually press them. Okay, thank you. I don't get it. Do we want to have like in pad out of the PCB? Because I don't get the cutout. Is it possible if we add a cutout in front of all the 4 buttons for the mechanical buttons to be pressed into? Am I stupid? I don't get it. Right now I'm facing the problem that the PCB is in the way of the buttons so that they cannot be pressed. I get that. I get that there's not enough space here. The dimensions are centered to the models of the buttons. Because we cannot move the buttons just forward, right? Because there's the solder pads here. Or can we? The pink thing is the courtyard, but I think we can ignore it. Also, there's waterproofing. How to waterproof this? Okay, I need to think about it. I need to give it some time. It's a shame I cannot mark this as unread, you know, just to come back to it. I've been doing some research. I've been doing some research into the feasibility of this. So far, I have found a few discussions that basically say it's not possible. As always, licensing and certification is the issue. But the hacker in me won't give in yet. The PN7150's website gives the warning, device is not recommended for new designs, we recommend using this. This does not allow to achieve EMVCO compliancy. Use PN5180 instead. Okay, so it's like a chain of latest supported Android version is 11. Fuck. And XP has stopped the Android maintenance. Okay. Okay, so it's not possible. Thanks for your research. I will adapt this, my schematic to use this. I also believe that it will not be possible to, or very difficult to integrate contactless payment for the reason you gave. But I think that NFC is still useful for other uses and still needs to be implemented in this smartphone. I agree. NFC is useful and should be implemented. Just wanted the same expectations regarding payments. Okay, I think I'll label this as future iteration because it's really not important now. It's important overall. If you want to keep it as unread, you could open the link in an incognito page as a shitty workaround. Actually, yeah, that's a decent idea, but I don't know. Certification is annoying. Yes, of course it is annoying. But it's needed. Like, imagine everyone can fucking use their Morse code machine at 1000 megawatts of power and like nobody in the area can have any internet because of their radio frequency. Like, how do you call that? Because basically if you use some really crude electronics like switches, the arcs can cause a like EMP wave or something, an electromagnetic wave basically that goes over multiple bands, and that like disables the communication for all of these bands for a second. Breakout board connector. Hi, I do have fallen down this rabbit hole before and I was ultimately shut down because I was unable to find the right display, but I was wondering if you planned on integrating an FPC or similar breakout board connector for the unused GPIO pins for creating a breakout board and adding the remaining features, flipper 0, etc. This way only a smaller part of the board needs to be remanufactured as part of iteration and development can be made. Simpler example connector, probably something along the lines of the magnetic ones. Oh, is that a video? Oh fuck, that was loud, at least on my end. Okay, I don't know why I did that. Yeah, connecting everything with FPC cables would be a little bit difficult, to say the least. It will also mean that the phone is more modular. For example, this is very ambitious and I'd be happy to. Also, PS, please have the next iteration use something like the NX5 module. I think we should add this. Oh no, okay, it's already have it in the wiki list of alternatives to the CM5. It will also mean that the phone is more modular. For example, some users might value an air quality sensor. I would value that. Living in a big city is always annoying when it comes to air quality. Over a flipper 0 module, a solar power module, etc. I did some research on solar power because, you know, the kid in me wants to have a solar panel on the back of the phone, but it's just not enough power to even start charging. I even experimented. This would also have the added benefit of being more environmentally friendly. True, as future versions of the phone could reuse all breakout boards with the sensor packages and vice versa. This is very ambitious and I'd be happy to contribute if it was made a little easier to develop. Also, PS, please have the next one. Okay, I'll give it a like because there's some good points there. We do have an add-on that will allow users to access additional So this is a duplicate. Or maybe I just need to change the title to modularity. 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 Is it not a word? Molecularity. Oh. Modularity. I think it's funny that I can change someone's title. I even can change his message, which is, I think that shouldn't be a thing. I shouldn't be able to change someone's message. It is also allowed on our end. Yeah, sorry for that. Yeah, okay, so this is basically like taken care of. I think I'll leave this open in case someone wants to discuss modules and stuff. Or should I close this as completed? I don't know. Respond to him in his own message. I don't know. I think that's like super weird that I can edit someone's messages. I understand that deleting is like necessary because someone can like do self-promotion or bots, etc. Okay, this issue, I don't like Windows, okay, but I'm going to read this. 4 dislikes. TPM was a like security module, right? Do I remember correctly? What is TPM in context of smartphones and PCs? It is a hardware or firmware-based security component designed to provide a secure environment for cryptographic bullshit. Okay. 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 Is this working? Yeah. Nice. Like the internet is slow, but I don't want to restart the stream, so sorry. I hope the quality is fine, and I hope there's not too much delay and so on. Dude, this is not a PC. This is supposed to be a smartphone. This is not a PC? For Linux, enabling kernel lockdown mode is sufficient. I feel like we're wanting to include so much things on the software, why it can just be Android simple. Like, I know nothing about this stuff, so I cannot even give an opinion. And why are we... How is this related to Windows? Because, okay, Windows runs on keys, right? So you probably need the TPM to have Windows on the phone, but like, fuck Windows, why would you want that? Seriously. Simple is better. TPM NOP. I don't know what TPM NOP is, but oh, this TPM. Okay. We can make our own, like I don't know. I don't want to like. Okay, next issue. This one was a funny one. Maybe we should read issues more often on live streams. Feature request: internal charging port. Why? People might want to install an additional battery, okay? This would allow sliding in a solar panel or other charging mode easily. The only modification needed would be to reprint the back of the chassis. So I already read that 5 days ago and asked, so essentially what you're suggesting is a secondary power input. Are you suggesting to place it inside the chassis? Yes. Yes, somewhere like here. The port will likely face upward in this case, or downward, depending on how much space is available. Ideally, we want to avoid having cables from solar panel or similar power input hanging outside the phone. Okay, he wants to add a port to avoid having cables ran into the chassis. So like probably the easiest way to solve this would be to add a vertical USB-C port that only has power.
Raptors said, why not? Isn't that a bit more common?
And two, for what? For like... let's reinvent the Microsoft phone. Absolutely not on my watch. Actually, I had it in my hand once. It was really funny. He on Twitch or YouTube? If he is referring to me, I'm on Twitch and YouTube, so you can, like, you know, pick whatever you prefer. I think Twitch has better quality. We should do the phone first, then see what space we have for add-ons. I consider this an add-on. This is just a port. Also, the add-ons are external, so that's a nice way to not have to deal with them, because there's 100 ideas for add-ons. Will the phone have wireless charging or only connector charging? For now, only connector charging. We actually never talked about wireless charging, if I remember. There are ready modules for that, if I remember correctly, so we could do that if we want, but if we do it, it's going to be a future iteration, not the first one. What should we answer? How expensive are... I don't know, this is kind of weird. But why? I don't get why we want to have a secondary power input. Anyone's interesting? Because with wireless charging, this guy's solar panel will need it, I think. Yeah, solar panels are different, like, not related. You can connect anything you want to the phone, but I'm wondering, why do we want two power inputs? Like, I don't get it. So the idea is that you would add another battery to it, right? So the USB solar panel output isn't blocking the... So the solar panel output isn't blocking the USB port. Like, how many people are going to connect a solar power panel to this? Like, I never saw a single person connect a solar panel to their phone except for me. Bro, you know how mesh-tastic it is to messenger chat offline without internet, or what, bro? Mesh-tastic is some... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a radio protocol that isn't like centralized, it's decentralized. So people are running nodes, and these nodes create a mesh, and they have a protocol for sending messages. And the more nodes, the better the entire like community gets the connection. I mean, the more nodes, the better the quality of the connection. That's what I know about it. I never used it though. Besides the fact of the two power inputs, how often do you keep your phone laying somewhere to charge? Don't you keep it in your pocket or hold it in your hands, which would block the panel? Yeah, also, if someone really wants that, I think we could have like like in the magnetic connector, the power output could also be an input, but that's like complicated and stuff, so will the front project have meshtastic features like LoRa? Maybe, I don't know. For now, we didn't talk about it. We have some people who wanted to add an add-on for radio communication and stuff. I mean, why not? If it's an add-on, it's nice. You just pop in the thing and you have what you want. Okay. Next. Fedora KDE Mobile. Oh yeah, I think. Oh, we can close this. So basically, he suggested to use KDE Mobile as another operating system. I am frozen again. Are you sure I'm frozen? Because I think it's working. Maybe the internet is bad. I'm sorry. Okay, closing this as completed. Nice. I am fine, thank you. Create a GitHub organization and multiple repos. Hi, I feel like a bunch of software ideas requests are cluttering the GitHub issues. I think for a project of this scale, it would make sense to create a GitHub organization and multiple repositories, at least hardware and software inside that organization. I might even make sense to have a general firmware software repo and the additional repositories for each operating system family. Similar for hardware, where it might make sense to separate the case and PCBs into different repositories, maybe even a separate repository for the main board and all other PCBs that might be created in the future. Flex PCB connecting different boards? No. Separate board for USB port. What? So you can detach the USB port? Isn't it easier to just desolder it? So it is easier to swap in case the port breaks. Okay, bro, thank you very much for your answer. I'll take my leave now. Okay. You didn't answer. Is your nickname just a dot or is it a bug here? Yes, that's a good idea. I know nothing about GitHub repositories. I mean, about GitHub organizations. So, I'm not sure if that would be beneficial. Is a shared account designed for teams, businesses, open source projects. Okay. I mean, I think it makes sense to keep the code separate, but also, I don't know what's the difference. Like, the only difference is that syncing and cloning will be faster because there's less data to download, because people who work on software don't need to download the hardware stuff. But that's like 1 or 2 seconds difference because the repo is like, I don't know, for sure it's not heavier than 50 megabytes. So you can create teams, okay. Centralized billing and subscription management. Okay. Sophisticated controls to manage security access and other logs, team management. Nested teams can be created to mirror a group structure. I don't know. On one side, I feel like it's like extra work for nothing to do this, and on the other side, maybe useful. You know, I don't like to form large structures like corporate-like structures because then you spend more time managing the structure than actually doing the projects. So I'd like to avoid that. I don't know. I'll give this a think. I don't know. I need to drink water. Hi Clippies, prawda jest tylko jedna. It's too early for organization. We worry about that when we have a lot of gigabytes of data. Yeah, that's also what I think. Also, there's literally no software progress right now. So what's the point of making a software repository if we don't have anyone doing software right now? Also, another additional like closing thought on this subject is that if someone is working on software and they have an issue that needs the hardware to be fixed, like they need to see the hardware or something, you know, I think it's good to encourage people to have everything and to look at other people's work, sort of. I don't know if I worded this correctly. I don't know if you understand me, but like if we have people working on A and other people working on B, I think it's good for them to interact and see each other's work. That's my opinion, at least. Okay, I think last issue, because this is getting... Waterproof USB-C port. Hello, so the current USB-C connector isn't watertight, and also it had an old USB standard. I mean, it had USB 3.2, I think. So we found a better USB-C port that is watertight according to this data sheet. I'd prefer the mid-mount variant over the bottom mount variant because then it is aligned with the audio jack in the chassis. It also already has a free data for download, so you don't need to make an extra model for that. Nice. This is beautiful. It probably costs $1 million, but it's necessary to make it waterproof. Actually, I'll tell you a secret. At first, I didn't want to make it waterproof. I just like didn't really care too much about waterproofing, especially the first prototype. But since all of you basically helped making it waterproof, then I guess it's going to be waterproof. Okay, so this is USB-C 4. I'll keep telling the same thing. Some iPhones, new ones like iPhone 15 and 16 still use USB-C 2. Just keep that in mind. I can do that now, actually. This costs, can we change to dollars? USD. $3. Oh, I'm almost out of RAM. Interesting. I can close this probably. This as well. Right, so I think I can take care of this. I was just curious, how is the price comparing? This is too loud. Okay. Expensive. So this is the current one and costs. Okay. I guess it's necessary to do the upgrade. It's not the correct one. I mean, it's not the one. Okay, whatever. Let's just upgrade because this is USB-C 2.0. We had 3.2, and I don't know, whatever. I'm interested to see the mechanical mounting suggestions, if they have any. That's what I wanted to use for the secondary power input, but I don't think it's useful. Also, it has a gold finish, which is very good because gold never rusts, basically. So he mentioned a specific variant. I also want to... Okay, whatever. Let's do it. Is it made by Hiroshi? Yes, I think they're a good company. By the way, guys, if you're adding 3D models or like symbols or whatever, just always add something to their name so it's easier to search for it, because not everyone remembers part numbers. Oh, I closed the chat. Segmentation fault. Okay, if I missed any messages, I apologize. I'll put it here for now. Import symbol. This one. Okay, I didn't put USB-C, I just put USB. Okay, whatever. Whatever. That's a lot of pins. Seems weird a little bit. How is that supposed to get in here? Okay, I think I know. You're supposed to cut out this part. This shouldn't be there. I mean, the PCB should have a cutout here. I think. Okay. Let's add it now. I forgot to rename it. Now I can rewire all of this. But first I want to check if it's going to import correctly. So this is the old one. I lost the chat somewhere. Okay, no one is chatting, I guess. Am I even online? Oh, you are chatting. What's going on? How is it possible that there's 23 people, but you're all silent? How's that working? Hello? By the way, I just wanted to like repeat the fact that you can use I thought there was no one. There's actually 25 people. That's a lot of people watching me do KiCad. You can use the TTS command, especially if I'm not looking at chat. You can just say TTS. You're making a terrible mistake. This way I can see it instantly. I mean, semi-instantly. Or maybe it just doesn't work.
V Electronics said, "You're making a terrible mistake."
Yeah, it works. Nice. Incredible. Now I want to ask Perplexity differences between USB-C and 4.0 and 3.2. He doesn't know. Okay. Oh, okay. Welcome. The shortcut for that was Windows Control Y. Yeah, now the chat is sticky. And hello from India, Nikola Tesla. Nice. One of my favorite inventors. I'm a normie. Do we want screen key? This way you can see all shortcuts I'm using, etc. The main differences between USB-C 4.0 and USB-C 3.2 are in speeds, compatibility, and features. Okay, 20 gigabits per second. And 4.0 is 40 gigabits per second. But it's commonly around 20 gigabits per second. So basically they're the same, okay? It uses only... It supports tunneling, which makes it perform somewhat better than other USB systems at the same speeds. Importantly, USB 4 is compatible with Thunderbolt 3, allowing higher versatility and performance. Visually, USB-C are identical. So there's no difference in pins, right? There is no difference. That's good because I have less work. So it's basically a protocol improvement, not strictly a hardware improvement. The hardware stayed the same. Okay, good to know. Let's, before I wire it, let's try to do a little F8. Okay, hello. And now this is big. Okay. This is the cutout area or something. Let's see how it looks in real life. It's loading so long because of the CM5 model, probably. I'm thinking I should disable it, but it looks cool. I don't know if it's worth 17 seconds though. Okay. Yeah, just as I thought. I need to move it further. This is looking cool, man. I love this. I need to move it like 1/10 of a millimeter. This is fucking beautiful. Okay, look, check out fucking this. By the way, I think we're going to come into some very interesting problems related to putting all of these small SMD components into the power section somewhere here and connecting them properly. I decided to go with these sizes of connectors. I think it's 0805 SMD package size. Of course, there are smaller sizes that we could use, but I figured that if someone needs to replace something or we want to troubleshoot the prototype and switch up a resistor, having this size of is actually pretty possible to solder it by hand, and you know, using ultra small ones like the size of fucking bacteria wouldn't be easy to prototype with and fix possibly in the future. So yeah. Nice. I like the fact that the USB-C port is now more like in line with the jack. Also, having this more expensive one is another argument towards not having a secondary power input. And I accidentally deleted the camera, which is fucking annoying. Can I just... It's back, okay. Because when I did my favorite F8, I deleted footprints with no symbols, and the camera doesn't have a symbol because it's not part of the smartphone circuit, it's an external thing. Maybe I should add the camera 3D model to the connector, whatever. Not important right now. Okay, now I need to use finer grid to adjust this. So this should now work beautifully. Maybe I can now if I disable these this, I want to see if it's going to load faster. By the way, my dear friends, did you notice the fact that we only have 2 screw holes here? The third one is shared with the chassis here, and this one is just, there's no screw here. We're skipping this one because we would have to drill into these pads, which would be not possible. Will the phone have a physical SIM card or eSIM? For now, physical SIM is here. Not implemented yet. I mean, not wired yet, because it's complicated as fuck. But I plan to have a physical SIM, of course. I don't know about eSIM though. Okay, let's see if it's going to load faster. It was almost instant. Come on. Come on. Look, we don't have the CM5 model. Okay, this is now looking good. Or is it? No, there's something wrong with it. I think I need to add the cutout here. Look, because the connector is getting into the PCB. I think I need to add the cutout manually because KiCad cannot. I don't know how to understand it because the footprint has the cutout in it, but KiCad cannot comprehend this, and I have no idea how to explain this to y'all. I was just asking because it wasn't mentioned in the overview technical specs. The sim is not mentioned at all. I can fix that really quickly. Should probably be under connectivity, right? Edit. I can just say physical sim. Is that understandable or something? Yeah, I forgot to close this. Is this fine? I don't think I would understand if you explained. Well, I'd okay. I think it doesn't really make sense to have all those fine pitch connectors like USB-C and the CM4 connectors, but also use 0805 components. 0603 would be fine too, in my opinion. That's a valid point. I understand it. But the USB and CM4 connectors are bigger, so it's easier to handle them. And your average hobbyist, if you give him resistors the size of a fucking bacteria, he won't be able to like work with them. Although at my university I have this like electronics professor who told me he's soldering some ultra small parts by hand. I never saw him do that actually. Maybe I can make a video with him. Yes, I was just thinking about you and your project. Yay! What's the hardware situation? The hardware situation is as follows. Save. I mean, it's a big topic, right? Right now, I'm upgrading the USB-C connector to a waterproof one. So basically, that's what I'm doing now. And I'll be rewiring everything in a second. Also, I think it's I'm wondering because I'm standing here for like 2 or 3 hours already. Should I I will make a break at some point, but should I make it like a new stream, or should I just fucking put on an overlay that says I'll be back soon and just leave the stream going? I don't have nothing to play here. Also, there's a very interesting thing I wanted to talk to you about ads and what YouTube does to you poor viewers with those ads, but let's focus on the USB-C for now. So you're making all the hardware from the ground up. Not all of it, because I'm using some modules like the Compute Module 5, for example, or, you know, depends what you mean by from the ground up. I'm making the motherboard from the ground up. I guess if you have a solar stencil plus microscope, smaller components would be viable, but that adds to cost and not every hobbyist would have a microscope. Are smaller components more expensive, or do you mean that the microscope is extra cost? I don't know. Maybe we should upgrade hobbyists. Let's give them microscopes. I think that's a good idea. Okay, I noticed that this symbol doesn't have the cool little thingies here, so I want to fix that really quick. Look, it's going to take me 5 seconds. Take this. And put it. It's so close. I can make it smaller. No, it's not. Like, is there a scale or something? No. It's a shame. It's good enough. It's good enough. Yeah. It's good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Update symbol. Okay. He's obviously designing and fabricating his own ICs for this project and sourcing the silicon. Yeah, actually, I have a fucking silicon crystal. 1 second. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is a real piece of silicon. Silicon oxide, I think. SiO2. I don't know what should I do with it, basically, but I have it. I don't know. It's cool to have it. Reminds me of silicon. How long am I streaming for? Oh, it's just 1.5 hours. It feels like I'm streaming for half the... I was thinking use what people know Raspberry Pis and Arduino parts, maybe custom modules to be able to use. I just want a 64GB desktop RAM stick in my phone. Of course, very feasible. You're gonna have 16GB. Take it or leave it. That's what I'm offering right now. I mean, that's the highest amount of RAM you can have on a compute module. Also, phone apps are not as heavy as desktop apps, so why would you want 64GB on your phone? That would eat so much power, because the RAM is very power hungry. Just saying. You don't need a microscope, just use your eyes. Just some cheap ceramic tweezers and a syringe for hand applying solder paste. That's what you're doing. Okay, that's fine. Damn, now where do you need to start is make your own big bang and recreate the universe so you can fabricate the... Yes, let's fabricate my own atoms. Okay, you know what's annoying? The fact that these are the same pins, they're just differently ordered. So I just have to like do the fucking same job, or actually they're exactly the same. Are you P and N gang, or are you plus and minus gang? Press 1 in the chat if you're P and N gang for these pins, because people use different conventions, and or press 0 in the chat if you're plus or minus. I know you're there, like there's 23 people, so fucking answer. You can use a big magnifying glass for larger scale. I've used it sometimes. Also for decoupling capacitors, 0603 are better capacitors because of lower ESR. I also prefer plus and minus. I think that's much better, like stands out better. I don't know. Fucking, I don't know. Okay, you know what I can do? Will this work perfectly? Like, this is such a good coincidence. Oh my god. This is 10x engineering. All of these pins match, right? Also, I'm not using sideband use pins, the SBU, because I fucking don't know how to use them. I mean, there's no use case in our case, I think. E1, TX1, TX minus, CC1, D plus, D minus, SBU1, RX2. Perfect. I'm double checking everything. V bus B, bus B1, receiver 1, plus, receiver 1 minus, sideband use 1, D negative 2, D positive 2, CC2, TX2, SSTXP2, yeah. Ground B, ground B. Fine, check this out. Boom. Boom. That was cool. I just have to update the PCB now. Yeah, that's so true. Letters can be easily confusing when voltage in school can be UVE and all of that. That's so true. Like, I need to change the song. Van Life Rager. And in physics, like, you have all of these letters that mean the same thing. I would prefer to have special symbols for all of these things. So it's one symbol attached to one like dimension or like property. There's no good answer. I'm about to just open the first textbook and find and make my religion. Yeah. The annoying part is that E is energy. Yeah, that's true. The fact that like there's interconnections between all of these things is fucking stupid, man. And that's obviously stupid. We don't need to debate that, right? Beautiful. I just have to connect this ground here. And should the shield be grounded to both grounds or just one ground? Actually, it's to both grounds. Never mind. Okay, so this is J2. And this should also be J2. Yes, perfect. Oh my god, he's doing math. I cannot look at this. Sorry. I'm on vacation. I don't do math on vacation. Sorry. I hate fucking numbers, man. I fucking hate numbers. Okay. We have a shit ton of changes. I hate the fact that KiCad, when you update the PCB, it makes changes in all of these files because this makes it so that all of other people who were possibly working on them have conflicts. So that's why KiCad is not very suitable for version controlling, in my opinion. or maybe you just have to agree with people. That's what I do generally, that you sync the schematic to the PCB only when all changes are complete, right? So there's no conflicts. And as usual, I'm going to use NeoVim to push my changes because I'm chill like that. So what is this? Suspicious. Okay, I think it's not a problem. So that was my comment message, and now I just push. Yay! Anyone knows the acronym of KiCad? Because it's not actually CAD. Because if it was actually CAD, it would be spelled like that. Actually, it's an acronym. Okay, we did something really productive now. What Linux do I use? I use Debian 12. And recently Debian 13 came out. 13. So I'm wondering if I should make the switch. Also, yeah, I wanted to talk about the ads situation. I'm guessing you saw not more than one ad on this live stream. Is that true? I like seeing the keystrokes. What program is that? It's called Screen Key, I think. I'll tell you exactly. Just give me a second. This is going to drop out viewership by 50%, but just give me a second. Yeah, it's called Screen Key. I almost doxed my password here. I have no ads. You're watching on YouTube and you have no ads, right? Should be, oh, you have an ad blocker, but the people who don't have the ad blockers. Because I'm interested to see if YouTube is, because I disabled ads, mid-roll ads on the live stream, but I'm interested to see if they're really disabled, or am I just getting kind of tricked into thinking they're disabled? So basically I'm asking if the people who are not having ad blockers on their devices, do you have ads? Also, I recently discovered you can block certain categories of ads. Like, for example, I blocked gambling ads. Like, I think there should be no ads for gambling and casinos. I blocked energy drinks. It's like super fucking stupid in my opinion to have. For example, let's say we have a certain YouTuber, right, who's marketing fucking energy drinks to his audience, which is mainly children and kids. I think that's super fucking stupid and fucked up. On my phone, so no ad blocker, let me leave and rejoin to test. Right, so I think YouTube should be allowed to put an ad in the beginning and in the end, and that's it. Or I think I can manually put in an ad. I don't know how to do it though. That's funny that I can just fucking put an ad in front of you. And I don't want to do that. I would never do that. Don't worry. No ads. Okay, nice. Nice. So maybe let's get back to the magnetic connector subject here. It's not the exact same one as you're looking at, but it's pretty similar. And the connection is explained. This looks like some music editing and mixing setup. If the stream crashes, it's probably that I ran out of RAM, so if it crashes, let's say that if it crashes, I'm taking a break, okay? That's the idea here. Or I can basically close some stuff. You know, one thing about making that entire like smartphone and stuff thingy is that, please someone explain to me the difference between these two, please. Thank you. Ping me on Discord if you know the difference, except for the amount of memory. Back on track. Making the smartphone is really like interesting, and one thing that I really enjoy about it is that it's extremely fucking hard, right? And complex and complicated and difficult. So it's difficult, yeah, but in effect, I won't be scared of any like other projects if I do this. I will feel like, you know, I'll be feeling good. Make your own ad and randomly start that video during the stream. Can we have a Spirit smartphone ad? It's hard to make an ad for something that doesn't physically exist yet, but that would be so cool. I think Voinea once made an ad. Can you actually ping people here? No. Okay. There was a company doing modular laptops, I feel, framework. I feel like phones too, I don't know. The explanation for the use of the phones was Fairphone. Interesting. Fairphone and framework, almost the same name. The explanation for the use of the macro pads in the start of the video. How far did we have come on the project? Can you describe quick, please? I joined the stream late. On this stream, we chose a new magnetic connector. We upgraded the USB-C port and we yapped. That's the progress. And basically, maybe it's easiest if I just show you the 3D model, right? We also fixed the thermal problem. Now the compute module 5 is facing outwards. It's going to blend it here. So yeah. We have a new USB-C port, which is waterproof. Beautiful. Here. Beautiful. We can add ray tracing, so it's even more beautiful. Your phones are your market to yoink. I mean, like, honestly, the license of Spirit permits anyone to build them, so anyone can produce them, mass produce them, and whatever. They just have to release their designs under the same license. So nobody can take the design and close source it. It has to be open source. And like the license is like a virus that it infects other projects. Like, let's say company X wants to copy our like add-on, or let's say they copy our infrared LED thingy. Then if they put it into one of their designs, they have to open source their entire design and add the same license. I think that's really cool. Modular phones are extremely difficult as they can get very dirty very easily because we keep them in our pockets, where crime and dirt gathers. There have been attempts for modular phones, but are bad. I think the best attempt is Fairphone. Modular phones would be cool as hell, but are difficult to maintain, like foldable phones. Foldable phones are super difficult to like do anything with. Do we have anyone in chat with a foldable phone? Not a flip phone, like a smartphone. Actually, if you have a flip phone and use it actively, you're a giga chat. I wanted to buy myself the like new Nokia flip phone because it's cheap and it has like Google Maps. So if I get lost, you know. I forgot the name. No, it's not this one. It's only available in the US though. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think it's this one. This is fucking beautiful. This one, yeah, this. 2728. Are these rupees? Like the Indian rupees? Indian Mart. This. If that was available in my region, I would fucking buy that shit instantly, you know? This is so beautiful to me. I would love a foldable phone like the Samsung Fold, but I would remove the third single panel and the camera. I feel like the chassis and shell are definitely gonna be a challenge. For modular phones, I see them being a little chunky at first. Yeah, that's one thing important to keep in mind, that modularity and being chunky, bulky, being fat, that's like a trade-off. Either have one or the other. I mean, you're either having a small phone or you're having a modular phone. You cannot have both. Like, I bought a fold phone for the dual screen. I don't need a third screen and a high quality camera. Useless to me, just good enough is plenty. Yeah, also foldable phones get scratched with your fingernail, like the screen, so I don't see how anyone would want to use that. If there's a fucking Nokia 2780 on the market, like, if I was in the US, I would just insta-buy this. This has 2 screens, by the way. Okay, let's...
Any possible end-ins or all the remaining sides. All connectors are centered within the grid units. Now, for the connection itself, we will need power, ground, 2 pins for I2C, and maybe an extra pin to use as an interrupt for it.
Interrupt, okay. So we're just using the 4 ones, right? The ground is the ASL power for our magnetic stuff, right? Is that true?
A total of 5 pins, and of course the magnet arranged with the right polarity. I went to DigiKey and found these that you can get with magnets embedded already. There's only one slight problem. They cost over 10 bucks each and they come in pairs only. Pins and
it's fucking expensive as fuck. Like, everything that includes magnets is expensive. I would even want... What if we replace the magnets with screws? That when you want to add the add-on to your phone, you just take a screwdriver, put in the screws, and then it's holding it better than a magnet. It doesn't click in place like that. It's less satisfying, but it's more durable and cheaper.
Parts. If I make 5 modules, for example, I will need 5 of them with poco pins and around 30 landing pads. So maybe it's a good idea to design my own exactly like I want them. I will be making them out of small PCBs that will interlock with the main board. They'll have 2 locating features.
Okay, so you're supposed to... Oh, that makes it clear. You're supposed to add the pads yourself. That's nice. That's easier, cheaper, and that's just better. I don't know why I didn't think about that. So the motherboard will have something like this, but I would prefer to put the copper directly on the side instead of having like a separate small PCB here. That's cool. That's really fucking cool. Am I right, chat? Unless one of your modules is basically just a detachable smaller phone. Or just some sick geometry or a mechanism instead of magnets and screws. Yeah, I'm into sick mechanical geometry. Like, I was never interested in mechanical stuff, and then I went to study mechatronics, and now I'm interested in it. So good job, mechatronics. You've made me interested in something. And repairability, it is also easier if it breaks. That's true. Modularity is good for repairability, but if you have a fully open source design, it's also very easy to repair.
Will be soldered on both sides to the castellated pads on the edges, ensuring both mechanical and electrical connection.
Cool. Cool. Do you know the Tuco scene, like from Breaking Bad, when he says tight, 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 tight?
As for the upstream connector,
That's
I will
me
use
right
the
now.
exact same part like the landing and add these through-hole pogo pins to the center with the small shroud to keep them aligned. I will be soldering them. As for the upstream, and add these through center. I will be soldering them the exact same way as
What
the
is
other
this program? Okay, Fusion
center
360.
with the small shroud to keep them aligned. I will be soldering them the exact same way as the other ones.
Nice.
With the connectors more or less figured out,
Nice.
let's discuss how the macropad will communicate with the module. Each one of them should function as an I2C peripheral, and the macropad should detect whenever there is an input event. I did some research first. Fortunately, I stumbled upon the Adafruit Seesaw framework, which can be configured to give a wide range of capabilities via I2C.
But if you don't know, we were going to have an I2C expander that basically takes one I2C line and expands it to 4 different ones. So you can, in theory, have 4 add-ons at once if you want. Complaint mechanism get me moist. Stream died. It could have died because I have weak internet. Also, I need to keep talking over this video if I want to watch it, because YouTube is going to copyright strike me. But if I talk, it's fair use.
This is awesome, and it will save us a ton of work. So exactly like the breakouts, our modules will be running the Seesaw framework.
Okay, we have 2 songs playing at once.
On 80 tiny microcontrollers from Microchip. With all this in mind, I threw together some parts that are fairly similar to whatever I'll be using for the end product. Remember when I said that
this is a really good MCU? I can recommend it. I have 2 of them. I have the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and stuff connectivity version, and the one without it. It's like less than $10. It's like $7 fucking bucks or something. And if you want to like get into China, I wonder how much it costs here. It's not available here for some reason, maybe. But if you go to Alibaba, they upgraded their website. Now it looks cool. Okay, I have, like, you get this $7 for this, but you have also some cheaper options. Yeah, like stuff like that. Minimum order 1 piece. I don't know how they do that, but it's just $2 for 1 piece, and it drops down if you order in bulk. That's my guess. It's a good MCU. Just wanted to recommend it to you. Much better than a fucking Arduino. I did Lamau. I got BS on my desk. Okay. I don't get it, but okay. Let's continue watching. How I made...
that I don't have enough pins for the regular matrix setup. Well, for that reason, we'll use another technique to scan using shift registers. This
So is that basically assigning registers to devices connecting to the bus, to the I2C bus?
Only requires 3 pins from our main controller and it's already supported by KMK, the CircuitPython firmware
I
running
hate
on
breadboards.
To test out the module idea, I connected the
But
seesaw
this looked
breakout
really
board.
nice.
I attached an encoder, potentiometer, and a button to cover the basic cases we'd want in these modules.
What is that code editor?
The potentiometer.
So that's VS Code. Come on, man. Come on, man. Why are you using VS Code? Why are you using VS Code? Now I'm sad.
And a button to cover the basic cases we'd want in these modules. Now, this extra wire represents the interrupt in the connector I mentioned earlier. I'm trying to avoid spamming the I2C bus constantly as much as possible and try to leverage the seesaw configurable interrupt for digital inputs. It triggers when there's an interaction on the module side and it will clear the flag after we read it from the macropad side.
Okay.
One thing to note here that I allocated only one pin for all.
Okay, like... Do we want to react to all of that? Maybe let's see the final result. Or mistakes. Yeah, mistakes are always good. To learn from others' mistakes. I mean, I'm not, you know.
Final shots.
It's 3D printed, right? What do you guys think about 3D printing? I'm 99% sure it was VS Code. I see Microsoft related things when I look at them. Like, I'm super allergic to them. That's why I fucking see them. What do you guys think about 3D printing? I prefer to not have a 3D printer, actually. Maybe that's controversial. Okay, this looks fire. This looks really nice, and this is fucking beautiful. I don't get what the product is, but it looks beautiful. Yeah, he's like messing with some audio stuff, I think. Or no, it's like graphical stuff. Okay.
Now that it's done, we can go over how the code is set up and I can show you some mistakes and flaws that almost ruins the entire build.
Mistakes.
The main macropad is still running
Wait.
And go over how the code is set up and I can show you some mistakes and flaws that almost ruins the entire build.
Why are the buttons not aligned? Or am I like blind? But like they're not aligned. And on the 3D printing topic subject, look how much more beautiful metal is than plastic. I'm metal gang. I'm team metal, not plastic. Also, metal can be recycled. It's more expensive, I get it.
Macropad is still running KMK. I just wrote a custom module to account for whatever hardware configuration we have on the other side. This little arrow on the OLED screen is a visual indicator for the interrupt line on the connector, whether it's first connection or an interaction on the module.
Cool! Did you see the LEDs light up?
Line on the connector, whether it's first connection.
Cool! That's cool. That's really fucking cool.
or an interaction on the modules, it shows up briefly on the screen. That way, if it stays for too long or it doesn't go away.
Imagine how much more beautiful it would be if it was brushed aluminum or tempered steel. I want to show you my favorite tempered steel. This. Imagine, like, when you heat steel at specific temperatures, right? It gets like colorized into these colors, right? It's kind of hard to nail these temperatures, as you can see here. This is Fahrenheit, so I don't fucking understand it, but it's for blue. I remember it was around 300 Celsius. So my favorite is obviously the cyan ones here. Imagine having a phone case milled out of stainless steel that has been heat treated, like tempered, and is like this blue color. I think this is beautiful, and it's not that expensive. 3D printing with metal. Yeah. I prefer like CNC stuff, like mills, lathes, and so on. I just find it cooler. Okay. But this is the most beautiful material to me that I have ever seen. Like, I don't know if something can beat this. And it's kind of cheap.
It shows up briefly on the screen. That way, if it stays for too long or it doesn't go away, we know that something went wrong or actively going wrong. For the analog devices, they're set up in a similar way, but instead of interrupts, they are pulled on an interval. They send MIDI control signals for provided MIDI pulse. That way we can attach that to special actions on the computer side. More info on this in the description below. It doesn't matter if you boot with or without the modules. As long as you have proper configuration, you will be able to attach later, swap position during runtime without problems.
That's really cool.
Which is cool and exactly what I set out to do, but there is a major flaw on the way the interrupt is handled right now. Remember when I said that a single interaction will trigger a scan for everything? Well, that turned out to be a horrible idea when you have a lot of them. What ends up happening is the transactions to scan each module start to stack up really quickly, and you end up missing sometimes the interactions because it takes you too long to get to the one that triggered it. With just one or two modules, it works really great and the delay isn't very noticeable. Also, the analog ones aren't really affected by this because they update state on an interval. I tried as a potential solution to encode the I2C address of each module and send it as a custom pulse to the controller on info. That way it knows which of the modules is trying to talk and scan just that.
So basically he made his own protocol, kinda, separate from the I2C, and each module has its own set of pulses.
It didn't really work great because it's still too slow to read in CircuitPython, and I'm still looking into it.
So don't use Python for that. It's electronics, no Python. No Python in electronics.
And how to make it run
Only
better.
C and C++.
In the meantime, if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section. The other thing that didn't work really as I anticipated is the magnets. Unfortunately, they don't have enough force for this orientation. You can easily knock the module and disconnect it. On the other hand, if you have two of them, or on the sides, they work really great and they have just enough force to keep them secure. If for some reason you still want to build this or just a part of it, please be aware of the issues and limitations I mentioned earlier before pouring your time into it. As per usual, I will leave all the files in the description down below. And so that you know the build is structured in a modular way and you can build just the parts that interest you. You can make just a macropad, for example, or just a detachable module if you're making a full keyboard and you want something like that. That will work great. I also want to warn you that the 3D printed parts in this project are finicky and very thin in few places. If you're planning on doing this in FDM, expect some post-processing to make the tight tolerances work and make them fit nicely. Craft Reflex from Haygears made it very easy for me to
I thought it was
parts with great surface
our
finish.
Discord who caused that spike in watch time, but
it's pretty obvious that I'm not an expert in any of this. And what you're watching is me learning by doing and failing.
Maybe it is us. I don't know.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.
I think we spiked this guy's views. That's fun. The T-Craft, hello. FDM plastic printing is for prototyping. I agree with you on final product. Why not titanium like on Discord? Because it's extremely expensive, maybe. But that would be heavy as fuck. Rapid prototyping, I mean, 3D printers are cheaper and faster than machining. Good for fast prototyping, but yeah, metal is nice. But machining gives you that satisfaction, you know? The fact that you like wrote the G code, you fucking, you know, I don't know, it's just entirely different vibe. Okay, I'm getting hungry because I'm standing here since morning, so we're probably going to end soon. However, I wanted to tell you that YouTube gave me the option to choose when I want to put ads on my videos, so I chose the minimum amount of ads for you guys. Okay, there should be 0 mid-roll ads, and there should be no like weird ads like sexually related or related to like weird stuff. I tried to block as many of these categories as I could. And as for the front and back ads, like in the beginning and in the end of the videos, I cannot change them. That's YouTube. You can blame them for these ads. But all ads that I could have removed, I removed them. So you know. You can always convert a 3D printer into a CNC router. Yes, but if you want to cut metal, you need better motors and a better spindle, which is ultra expensive. I'm currently looking for a spindle and it's super expensive. Well, I made the CAD file, it has limits. I don't know. Okay, would you be interested to watching a live stream of me reacting to some videos? I don't know what exact videos, but maybe some machining stuff, because I really like watching long form YouTube videos. So if you're into that, I'm also into that. I think that's enough for now. Maybe I'll be back streaming afternoon. So thank you very much for this live stream. See you in the next one. Now I'm going to wait like 3 seconds because OBS tends to cut me off if I just press stop streaming. So 1, 2, 3, maybe 5, 4,